Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
The public will be given opportunity to comment on action items on the agenda when the item is heard, and comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group. Thank you.
Supervisor Messick, lead us in the pledge.
You all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Here.
Supervisor Blazer,
Here.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Here.
Supervisor Messick.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered to be action items that are routine and can be enacted in one motion. Do we have a motion?
So moved. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, the motion passes. Special presentations.
Is there any public comment on consent?
Do we need public comment?
Yes.
Was there any public comment on the consent agenda? No, so the motion does pass. Special presentations. We're going to get a quarterly update from public safety departments.
Wonderful, thank you. Good morning, Board. I'm Nick Morsinski, Undersheriff with Yuba County Sheriff's Department, and I will be doing the Public Safety Quarterly Update today. I want to let you all know that Sheriff Anderson was hoping to be able to do this himself. However, he and DA Curry are currently down at the Capitol building fighting a good fight for us, so you got me instead. As far as our public safety goes here in the county, I do want to recognize and thank our other public safety departments in probation and the district attorney's office. I know Chief Riccardi's here. And Sheriff Anderson, DA Curry, Chief Riccardi, we have a phenomenal relationship and great partnership with one another, and we work really well together. Actually, just last week, I attended the California State Sheriff's Association annual conference, and in discussions with a lot of the sheriffs down there, they don't have that same relationship within the county. So I'm very proud that we have that and glad I can be presenting today. Here we go. A lot of these stats are based on our 2023 numbers, but I just wanted to give you an overall of what we're looking like here at the department. Right now we have 74 deputies assigned to patrol. We have 67 correctional officers in the jail. We have 5 bailiffs up in civil that are working the courts in the civil division. And then we have 4 ACS officers as well for animal care services. Our professional staff on the operations side is at 34 right now. Our jail is at 10. We have 2 in civil and 6 support staff out at ACS. That's a grand total of 202 employees. We've got a great family here at the sheriff's office. And it's worth noting that 26 of those positions are funded through Measure K, which has just been absolutely a godsend to public safety here in our county. So just going to run through a couple of the divisions. In our operations division, which is the patrol staff you see a lot out on the road, we have a total of 58 deputies out on the road, and then on top of that, we have the administration, of course, and then their supervising sergeants. We have 6 that are assigned up into the Foothill beat. As you all know, that is the foothill area of our county. It's a vast area. It's over 400 square miles. We have 6 deputies that are responsible for that area. Right now, we have 2 that are assigned over to Net 5 to our Drug Enforcement Task Force. They're doing a great job for us. We have a boat patrol deputy, 5 in detectives, and 2 in code enforcement. One thing of note, this year we were able to add a second school resource officer. So now we have partnered with the school district and now have 2 dedicated school resource officers for the county, which is phenomenal. Again, these are the 2023 stats. They look pretty good overall. We did have, unfortunately, a slight uptick in sexual assaults. However, the majority of the violent crimes and property crimes are down as well. Far fewer robberies, assaults. I'm happy to report the fewer assaults on our deputies, and our burglaries and arsons are down as well. One thing that if you look up in the upper right corner, vehicle theft, we went from 2 in 2022 to 3 in 2023. Of note, generally the California Highway Patrol takes vehicle theft reports. It has to be pretty specific situations in which the Sheriff's Department would handle that. So that doesn't mean that we've only had 3 stolen cars in 2023 in our area. A statistic that I wasn't able to put up, which I think is noteworthy, is since implementing the Flock license plate reader cameras, our recovery of stolen vehicles has gone through the roof. We're in the hundreds. And that has been a phenomenal tool for us, not only in recovering stolen vehicles, but also aiding in investigations in crimes. We've had homicides all the way down to stolen vehicles solved through that software. So very impressed with that. Our investigations division, as I said, we got 5 deputies assigned as detectives and 2 sergeants in there. Over the course of 2023, they handled 85 sexual assault investigations, 49 felonious assaults, 2 attempted homicides, and we had, unfortunately, 4 homicides in the year 2023. One thing that I'm very proud of our team, of those 4 homicides, we made arrests on every one of those. So batting 1,000, these guys do a phenomenal job, very dedicated, and have done some great work. If you look down at the search warrants executed, they wrote, authored, and served over 170 search warrants in 2023. Couldn't be more proud of the team we have. They do a great job. One topic that's been of note lately is the illegal marijuana grows, especially up in our foothills. We have the marijuana eradication team, METU. These are 2023 numbers. We had over 14,000 plants seized and 4 guns seized in 2023. I will tell you right now that we have already exceeded these numbers for this year. And there's sometimes a misconception with the marijuana eradication that we have in the county. These aren't mom and pop, got a couple plants behind the shed type things. We're finding guns. These are organized endeavors on the part of these criminals. We're getting several guns, thousands and thousands and thousands of plants. And this year we've already seized over $1 million in assets from them. So again, our team is doing great work. As you guys recall, back in 2021, we entered into a partnership with code enforcement. Code enforcement actually is now housed in the Sheriff's Office Administration Building. We have 2 deputies assigned to code enforcement, and this has been one of the best collaborations that I've seen in my law enforcement career. Our deputies working with Jeremy and his team have done some great things in reducing the blight in our county. We had over 48 property abatements in 2023. They've responded to 400 calls for service, but I think most noteworthy of these statistics is our deputies handled almost 1,500 self-initiated calls, going out and doing code enforcement work, and made over 154 arrests. So Again, that has been a great partnership. Hats off to Jeremy and his team, and it's one thing that we want to continue building on. Our jail division, our average daily population in the jail, I know I have it listed at 300. It's a little higher than that right now. I think it's 304. But we definitely stay busy in the jail. One statistic that I saw that I thought was noteworthy is that we served almost 400,000 meals in 2023. We had 750 transports where we're transporting to various corrections facilities throughout the state, and a number of inspections. If you look at that list of inspections, we had 12 different inspections that occurred in 2023, and I'm happy we're averaging one a month on inspections. We were found to be in substantial compliance in every one of those inspections. Sometimes there's some misinformation out there as to the status of jail facilities throughout the state. We are inspected often, frequently, and in depth. And we are in compliance, and staff's doing a wonderful job there. The civil division also falls under the corrections division of the House. They handled over 250 evictions and served a total of almost 2,000 civil services throughout the year. So again, staying busy. Animal care services consists of our ACS manager, Nall, who does a phenomenal job. We got 3 officers that go out and do the field work for animal complaints and other compliance. We have 4 techs that remain at the facility itself and safeguard and care for the animals out there, and then 2 administrative techs for the proper paperwork side of things. That's low numbers. We're at 10? And in that, they responded to 3,200 calls for service last year. And that is with 3 ACS officers. So they're doing great work. They're staying busy. Would like to expand this program and see if we can get some assistance out there, but my goodness, they're making it work. Some things of note, this year we partnered up with the school district and helped develop and participate in a public safety ROP program at Marysville. It's housed at Marysville High School. However, it's open to Marysville and Lyndhurst students. The students, this is an elective class. And when they sign up, they get the entire year of straight public safety. The first semester is devoted to the law enforcement side, and the second half of the year is for the fire and EMT side. And I actually got to go out there, teach these kids and participate in it. We had various members of our division go out and participate in classes, and it all culminated with them coming and taking a tour of the office. And what a great way, especially in a time where sometimes public safety doesn't have the best perception by the media and the public. What a great opportunity for us to get in front of these kids and show them really what the job is that we do and how we do it, and start garnering that interest at a younger age. Hopefully they remain in the community and are working for us one day. Very proud of that program. Again, probably the most noteworthy thing that we've taken on, and this was just in the last few months that it was implemented. We have implemented our new public safety software system through Sunridge. This RIM software is a game changer for us, moving from a very antiquated system that was built back in the 1990s into this modern day software system. Has just been great for both our deputies responding out in the public, also our dispatchers, our records. It's just really modernized and revolutionized how we keep our records and how we go through dispatching. I do have a screenshot right there of a portion that we're going to be unveiling, I guess we would say, next week. There is a Citizen RIMS website access point where members of the public will be able to enter into our system and see our crime statistics in almost real time. It's updated every 4 hours. So you can either enter an address and check for particular calls for service at an address, or you can look in the area and see the different types of calls for service that we're responding to and what our staff's out there doing. I think this is going to be a great tool for the public. As you can see, I have a heat map pulled up right there, and this is a heat map indicating where the majority of the crimes are within the county in a certain period of time. This not only is great for the public, but it's also really great and helpful for us in learning and knowing where we need to dedicate more resources to and what types of crimes we're having. So again, more to come on this. We're going to be launching that next week. It will also include all the wanted persons within the county, all those that are in our custody. There's an opportunity for the public to register their security cameras if they would like, to let us know that they have security footage and they're willing to share that with the sheriff's office in the event that it is needed, and only so. So really excited to be launching that. I had to put a picture of the Bearcat up because I think that's a cool thing. We ended up getting the Bearcat in 2023. This is an armored personnel carrier, rescue vehicle for us. The previous vehicle that we were utilizing for SWAT type and critical incidents was from the 1980s, and no air conditioning, and the ballistic rating wasn't the best. This was a Measure K purchase. It's been great. I am absolutely certain that this will save lives of the public and our deputies one day. So I'm glad to have this piece of equipment. I'll wrap it up, but a couple things that I didn't make it into the slide. It's tough to go over an agency as large as ours and the various divisions and units that we have in such a short period of time. But our communications division, our dispatchers, we were talking about the new software. In 2023, 12 dispatchers handled over 130,000 calls for service. And that's just phenomenal work. And it's work that I'm not built for, but God bless them, they are. So we're lucky to have them. Our records division processed over 5,000 reports in that same time frame. Our finance division has been doing great for us, support services, and I just can't give enough kudos to them. Our reserve program is very strong right now with our reserve deputies. We have 23 reserve deputies that come in and assist when needed, and they're a big help. So with that, that's the State of the Union at the Sheriff's Office. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Well, it's a great State of the Union. I'm very impressed. Public safety, quality of life issues, it seems like your guys are on top of it. How soon on the public safety software rollout?
Yeah, so we've already implemented. So we're up and running with it. We began it, I believe it was the beginning of March was when we went live. We wanted to make sure that we were capturing the right data, and we're going to be sharing a lot of this information with the public. We're going to be launching the citizen RIMS portion of that next week.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about.
Yeah, we're looking at next week. But with that, because it is going to be public data, we had to go make sure that we're protecting people's privacy and security and make sure exactly what's getting reported. So there's not going to be any names associated with it. There will be call types and crime types, but we're not going to be giving the exact addresses where these occur. So we want to make sure that that was up and running, and it is. So we'll be launching that next week.
Sure, we have some board comments.
Through the chair. Go ahead. You're going to give us a PSA on that public safety software so that they know where they can go up. And I assume there's also an entry in there for online
Yes, sir.
complaints.
Correct.
And that would be very interesting, and probably they might actually respond to that as much as we want to modify our website on Yuba County. I certainly hope they use it.
Yeah, we do plan on launching a social media campaign to educate the public on it. Additionally, we have partnered with a company called the Sheriff's App. that we're in the development stages. In fact, we have a meeting with them today, and it's actually going to be an application on your phone that you can download. And it will have all the links to all of our Citizen RIMS program, our
Good.
CCW,
Right.
and any other information about the sheriff's office. So
Yeah,
we're trying to modernize, sir.
They pretty much feel helpless, or they don't seem to get the response that they want. But this will give them a tool that they can get up online and you hopefully utilize. Thank you.
I agree.
Through the chair. Nick, thank you. Excellent presentation. And I wanted to make a comment to the rest of the board members here. I was able to go on a ride along when they did one of these marijuana raids up in Brownsville. If you guys get the chance, it's, you see just what it entails, how detailed these guys are, how professional they are, and the most disgusting stuff you'll ever see in your life. These big grows. These people don't care about Yuba County, our environment, or anything. Probably the biggest risk of forest fire, I would say, in our county right now are these giant illegal marijuana grows where they're taxing the transformer on the power pole. And one of them, in one instance, is up to 500% of what it's ready for. When we get these heat waves and they're running that much power, these things blow and fall down in the dry grass. It's just, we really need to hammer them. These guys are doing a couple a week right now. And I wish we could get that out in the public, Nick, about that you've seized $1 million worth of stuff. These guys had giant generators there and all kinds of other stuff. But just to let the general public know on social media, maybe Rachel could help with that, of what you are doing and get the word out to these people that don't come to Yuba County and set up these grows, because we're coming. And you guys are really making a big difference. But it's almost like playing whack-a-mole or whatever. You knock one down and two more pop up. But we really need to stay on it and get the word out there and run these people out of Yuba County. Most of them are, like you say, the little mom and pop things are nothing. These are, in this case, was a Chinese nationalist. There was 5-gallon chemical jugs full of Chinese writing on them. I don't know what they were, and stuff spilling out onto the ground and down into the irrigation canal. So
Yeah,
we really need to stay.
these are organized criminal groups.
Yeah.
And in addition to the fire danger that you talk about, you just mentioned those pesticides, the environmental impact on who knows what these chemicals are that they're using and importing from other countries, and going into our waterways and hopefully not leaching into my well up in Loma Rica, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a concern. So there's so many facets to why we need to hammer these illegal grows beyond just the criminal nature of it. But our troops are doing a phenomenal job with it.
Yeah. The particular one that I went on was right up on the edge of the ditch, stuff running down that's going to get into the ditch. It's going to irrigate all of Dobbins, Oregon House. Tailwater is going to run into Collins Lake and right down into the Yuba River. So, we don't need that anywhere around here.
So John, were you wearing a flat jacket?
I was not.
It's kind of a dangerous situation.
That's why we got the Bearcat.
I stayed in the truck until they had the deal under control. But yeah, I just can't imagine these guys when they roll up like that, and then get out and announce with the loudspeaker and everything. You don't know if bullets are flying or not. They don't know what to expect. There's little crappy little buildings spread out all over these properties that people could be hiding in and ready to.
Through the chair, if you haven't done a ride along, you really need to do it. For those of you who think you know what's happening, when you do a ride along, and I did one for 5 years, and you find out what happens at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning will surprise you.
Well, thank you very much. Any more? Gary?
Through the chair, just wanted to say thank you for the presentation, Nick. It was great. Loved all the statistics and the updates of what all you've accomplished, and just want to say appreciate everything the department does on a daily basis for this community. So
Great. And thank you to the board for your support as well.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Mary? Okay, Mary, do we have public communications?
Yes, any person may speak about any subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and is not already on today's agenda. The total amount of time allotted for receiving such public communication shall be limited to a total of 15 minutes, and each individual or group will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Prior to this time, speakers are requested to fill out a request to speak card and submit it to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. Please note, no board action can be taken on comments made under this heading. And through the chair, we do have 2 cards, and I do see that we have no one on Zoom. So first speaker we have is Tony Farley.
Morning, Tony.
Bonjour. Good morning. Tony Farley, South Circuit, Southeast City. Yeah, the ride along for the ride plans. I hope me and Jeremy hook up to the ride along, the code enforcement, the code enforcement vest someday. So yeah, thank you for your service, County Administrator Kevin, Janet Bender, the Sacramentans future hopefully, best lawyer ever, Don Blazer, District 2, the farmer, John Miss, District 3, right? No farmer, Greg Bradford, District 4, the DC president, Seth Fuller, the diversity guy in here, I like him, Annie Vasquez, the former reserve deputy and Marine. Here thank Rachel for her service, the media. Here thank Jeremy, Tony, the sheriff, the governor, the Bearcat tonight. And thank you for your service, probation chief. Don't forget the R guy should go away. The R guy should go away. Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tony.
Next person we have is Joth Sullivan.
Welcome, John.
Welcome. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to note, I don't think that armored car the sheriff had was electric. Yeah, my name is John Sullivan. We're 3rd and 4th generation Native California born American family, and we're standing our ground. AB 1346 law is not conversation of it's going to happen. This gateway law to eradicate the internal combustion engine from the face of the earth is based on lies and junk science to keep the people under the thumb of government. Of course, removal of this law should be on a ballot to make it permanent in the future. But for right now, the people of Yuba County, I hope Sutter County would follow as well. These counties need to make a stand right now and stop waiting around for the election for the people that may or may not go their way in November. Let's go ahead and make these counties a sanctuary county for the internal combustion engine. Stand our ground and let the chips fall wherever they may. After all, we are dealing with tyrants at the top. From understanding, Governor Newsom has made history and not in a good way. He's the only governor that never has sat down and had a meeting with the sheriff department. I thank Yuba and Sutter County for not making them sanctuary counties for people here illegally in our country. But that's not the case for many cities and counties in California. So for some reason, these supervisors in these sanctuary cities and counties think it's okay to break Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution. That only hurts California American people in every way. All in a method of recycling California Americans for votes in the upcoming election from illegal invaders that have no intention of assimilating to the American culture, but to fundamentally change America forever to something we don't recognize. So when you walk into Home Depot or Lowe's, now it's apparent that we are all experiencing forced compliance in our garden department. We are forced to choose battery-operated lawnmowers and weed whackers. Down the road, we'll no longer be able to buy generators and drive classic cars on the streets. There are many topics that need to be changed so we can get back to our freedom-loving American way of life. But as Americans, we have to all realize we are living in a corrupt state that's quickly going broke from that corruption. And we have a constitutional crisis verified from this kangaroo court and lawfare that just happened to President Trump in New York. This is all said while the timer is running. Let's start making a stand and do the right thing and pushing back on the tyranny like California AB 1346 by making it Yuba County and Sanctuary County for the internal combustion engine. We the people deserve this. God bless. God bless America.
Thanks, John. County departments. All matters listed under county departments are action items, which will be considered and voted on separately. First, we have, I believe, Item 328, Ag Commissioner's Office. Steve?
Good morning, Chairman Blazer, honorable board members, Stephen Shear, Ag Commissioner. I come to you today to request approval of a budget adjustment in the current fiscal year of a total of $40,810. $34,000 of that comes from an unanticipated revenue and approximately $6,000 from other unexpended funds within our budget. These adjustments will be used to purchase a lease vehicle, negating the need for a new lease, which will save the department approximately $10,000 for at least the next 5 years. Replace aging office equipment. Also replace 2 5-gallon provers that have reached the end of their service life. This is equipment we use to certify the accuracy of gas pumps within the county every year. To fund the heavy capacity weight truck maintenance and replacement costs. That vehicle shared with Yuba or with Nevada and Sutter County. We have an agreement with them and to share those costs and to cover the health plan increases from the adjustments that occurred at the first of this year. Are there any questions?
Any board comment? Any public comment? Seeing none. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A second. And I believe we're going to need a 4/5 vote required. Do you want to do a roll call?
Yes, if I could please clarify who did the first motion and the second, please.
I'll take first if Andy wants second or vice
I'll
versa.
second.
Thank you. Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next we have item 333, clerk, recorder, register of voters. Donna?
Good morning. Chairman, members of the board, Donna Hilligas, County Clerk Recorder. I'm here today to ask you to approve a budget transfer. And the budget transfer is the result of the primary election where we had some unanticipated measures on the ballot, which increased our cost. But consequently, following the election, the billing of those election services generated the necessary recoupment revenue to cover those expenses.
Are there any board comments? Any public comments? Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Gary, thank you. In a second.
Andy seconded, I believe.
And I think this is a 4/5, so we need a roll call.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Donna.
Thank you.
Item 340, Health and Human Services.
Hi, good morning, Chair and members of the board. I'm Melissa Shaw, Deputy Director for Public Health and Health and Human Services. Today, I bring forward for your consideration an agreement with the Fremont Rideout Foundation. And here with me today are a variety of valuable partners from the Fremont Rideout Foundation, Ampla Health, Yuba College, Marysville Joint Unified School District, and the Water Agency. Due to the growing need for medical services professionals in the local area, Health and Human Services has been collaborating with these local partners to identify and implement opportunities to increase the workforce of Yuba County. One initiative we're implementing is through a partnership with Marysville Joint Unified School District involving high school students who are participating in the high school's career technical education program, specifically the medical operations portion. Beginning next year, as part of the students' clinical rotation, they will spend time in public health shadowing various programs and learning firsthand about the career opportunities that exist in public health. Our goal is to expand their insight, knowledge, and experience in the various programs public health has to offer. The next initiative involves this agreement before you. The Fremont Rideout Foundation provides support to students who are enrolled in Yuba College's nursing program. This agreement will allow 48 students who are Yuba County residents to receive one-time additional support while they are enrolled in the nursing program. The Fremont Rideout Foundation will recommend and encourage that each student who receives this support commit to work in the Yuba-Sutter area for 2 years after successful completion of the nursing program. Throughout the course of this agreement, we will track and monitor the number of successful graduates and the number of students who gained employment in the Yuba-Sutter area. Our hope is to assist 48 students for a total workforce investment of $192,000. We are optimistic that the collaboration across multiple community organizations who are also dedicated to investing in the local workforce will have a positive impact on growing the number of nursing professionals in our local area. In conclusion, and on behalf of Health and Human Services, I ask the board to approve the agreement with the Fremont Rideout Foundation to provide support to Yuba County residents enrolled in Yuba College's nursing program. And I'm happy to answer any questions the board might have.
So do we have any board comments or questions?
Through the chair, the water agency's involved in there. How much is the water agency contributing?
This was a collaboration, a brainstorming of ideas. So for this agreement, it is between Health and Human Services and the Fremont Rideout Foundation for the $192,000.
Oh, they're soon to be involved.
I think Jackie has a comment.
Very good. Yes, Yuba Water is at the table, basically. We're always working for workforce development for the county through the agency. So no financial impact, just my time, which I guess that's financial, but there you go.
Okay, thank you very much, Jackie. Sometimes we forget how involved the water agency actually is with everything.
Any kind of workforce development is critical nowadays, so good. Anybody else have a comment?
Just through the chair, just very important.
Yeah.
We obviously need more nurses. We need more local nurses. And so anything we can do to further that is very exciting. So appreciate the collaboration.
Anybody from the public have a comment? I don't see any. So do we have a
So
motion?
moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. So the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 308 is scheduled for 10 o'clock. So we're going to skip over that and come back, right? Okay. Yeah. That would mean we're going to ordinances and public hearings. Mary, do you want to read?
Yes. If you challenge in court the action or decision of the Yuba County Board of Supervisors regarding a zoning, planning, land use, or environmental protection matter made at any hearing described in this notice, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at such hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors at or prior to such hearing. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group.
First, we have 281, Community Development and Services. And are you ready?
Yeah, good morning, Chair, members of the board. Jeremy Strang with Community Development. This is the second reading of the proposed ordinance amendments. As you recall, you heard the first reading, or we waived the first reading back on May 28th. I have nothing really new to add to the presentation from the 28th meeting. So I'll just go through each of these, let you know what the ordinance does, what the proposed amendments are, and then the recommendation. So item 281 is first. This is for chapter 7.35 of the Yuba County Ordinance Code, which declares the accumulation and storage of abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperable vehicles or parts thereof to be a public nuisance. The ordinance amendments would remove the reference to an administrative law judge and would replace it with the county hearing officer. And with that, I would recommend that your board waive the second reading and adopt an ordinance amending those certain sections of chapter 7.35 of the Yuba County Ordinance Code.
So we're going to open a public hearing. And do we have any board comment? No. Seeing none, do we have any public comment? Seeing none, so we will close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
And a roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have 284, Jeremy. Is that you
Yes.
again?
Yes, the 284 is regarding Chapter 7.36 of the Yuba County Ordinance Code, which regulates the maintenance of properties within the county and provides a comprehensive method for the identification and abatement of public nuisances. Again, the proposed amendments here will remove the language related to an administrative law judge and instead replace it with the county hearing officer. There are also a few sections that will relate to the appeal period, which is 15 days being proposed to be 10. And with that, I recommend that your board waive the second reading and adopt the ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 7.36 of the Yuba County Ordinance Code.
Thank you. So we will now open the public hearing. Is there any board comment? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, so we will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And I need a roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr.
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
So 290, Jeremy.
Yes. 290 is regarding Chapter 10.05. This is the Building Department Construction Ordinance. Again, we're removing language regarding the administrative law judge and replacing it with the hearing officer. We're also modifying the appeal period of this ordinance as well to be consistent with the others. And then lastly, we're deleting a section regarding the appointment of the chief building official. So with that, I recommend that you waive the second reading and adopt an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 10.05 of the Yuba County Code.
Thank you. We'll open the public hearing. Any board comment? Seeing none, any public comment? So we will close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Motion. I'll make a motion to approve.
Almost made it.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Now we'll do a roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr.
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, board. See you this afternoon.
What's that?
See you this afternoon.
Okay. How about number 263? That would be Sam.
Button Public Works. Every year, the County Service Area or CSA's assessment summary is brought before the Board of Supervisors to adopt with the budget. The assessments for each CSA vary depending on things like new parcels and or the Consumer Price Index. The total annual revenue for all the CSAs combined is estimated this year to be $5 million and approximately $900,000 for the fiscal year 24-25. And this is also an increase from about 4% from last year's budget. And so the assessments will provide revenue needed for the services within each CSA. And today, the Department of Public Works recommends that the Board of Supervisors hold a public hearing and approve the attached CSA's assessment summary. Any questions from the board?
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any board comments or questions? Seeing none, any public comments or questions? Now we will take a motion.
I'll move to approve.
And a second. Second. And a roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr.
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary, we had some correspondence. Can you tell us what we got?
Yes, we actually got two notices. Agenda item 334-2024 is a notice from the State Water Resources Control Board regarding a petition from Yuba County Water Agency for long-term transfer of up to 200,000 acre-feet of water annually under the water right permits 15026. And then we have agenda item 347-2024 is a notice from the Selective Service System regarding registration requirements for 18-year-old men under the Military Selective Service Act. And that is all.
Thank you. So I think we'll get into the board and staff reports. Andy?
Well, in keeping with our public comment, I bought a gas weed whacker and a gas dryer. And I think that the suggestion in the wind and solar that all electric cars should have charging stations supplied by only wind and solar. So, the sidewalk repair, I think I asked for further clarification on that, and I hope that someone will be able to do that the next board meeting. So that, I mean, it's $1,000 repair on a tree that lifts up your sidewalk and all that stuff. And if it's required by the state, then maybe the state needs to get involved in some of the expense. Okay, let's see. I wanted to read this because this is a proclamation. We have a large Hmong community here, and people seem to think, and the Hmong seem to think that when their dad came over, he climbed on an airplane and got off in LAX or Sacramento. But this I'm going to present down in Fresno. This is Yi Tao, was born in Laos, joined the special guerrilla units supported by the CAA during Vietnam War and participated in Lam Song 719. Whereas on December 18th, 1971, Nia and his comrades were apprehended by the North Vietnamese in Pathet Lao military and held as prisoners of war in can't even pronounce the country there, but in Thailand. They went to relocation centers, which are not pleasant places. He was then transferred to the prison and worked on road and construction till his release in 1974. So this is a long journey that most of these children don't understand what it took to get here. He worked as a contractor until his escape in February 24th, 78. Continued as an officer for the Lao military. On 81, his family embarked on the perilous journey to Thailand seeking asylum. After 1 year, he was appointed chief of the refugee camp in Thailand, transferred then to Thailand in 1987, and whereas Nia and his family migrated to the United States on September 12, 1988, and since settled in Fresno. And Mr. Tao says, for those who fought for it, freedom has a special taste to protect it. We'll never know. But that I don't think people realize just what the journey from Laos and Cambodia took 10 years, 15 years for some of these people, and that allowed them to step up and eliminate 100 years of growth and knowledge by just moving here. And that's a pretty big gift for children from their parents. That's it.
Seth, do you have anything?
I can't follow that.
Come on. Okay, Carrie.
So 2 items. First of all, tomorrow at 10 a.m., Caltrans is holding a groundbreaking for a project in Wheatland on Highway 65. It will be pavement rehabilitation, bicycle and pedestrian improvements, as well as adding a stoplight at McDevitt in Highway 65. So it's an important safety project. Construction has already started and will run through December, and costs about $10 million. Vast majority of that is state funding. There's about $100,000 in money from the city. Also at 6 p.m. on June 25th, there'll be a ribbon cutting for the new bike path in Plumas Lake, the very southern section of that, at the very southern part of the community. So I'm looking forward to that and appreciate the county's effort to come out and do that, and welcome any public that wants to participate. There's going to be a bike ride. I think Health and Human Services is going to be out there giving out some bike helmets, and so very exciting. So that's it.
John?
I plan on attending that, by the way. I already put on my calendar with my e-bike. Let's see. So the Fire Safe Council is putting on community participation workshops. We did 2 last week. We have 3 this week, tonight in Loma Rica at the Loma Rica Lions, tomorrow night at the Alcoof Center and Organ House, Thursday night in Camptonville, at the school up there. So if you guys live in the hills, they're asking for participation to mark up on maps where problems are and things, so we can come up with another new fire plan for the next, I don't know how many years anyway. I'll be up there. And let's see, farmers market season's back in full swing. Friday nights in Brownsville, farmers market, and across the street at the coffee shop, they have live music and wood-fired pizzas. It's a great community event in Brownsville every Friday night. Saturday in Dobbins, the Dobbins Farmers Market's open. Next week's Fair Week, I'll be living at the fair from Sunday through Sunday of next week. And I'm hoping that I can again entice Supervisor Fear to be a judge in my Browns Valley Alley brisket cook-off we have on Friday night. So,
Thank you.
that's it.
County Council, anything?
Nothing to report.
And Kevin?
It won't let me. That's okay. Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. And anything for you, Mary?
Nothing, thank you.
I have just sort of a reflection or comment. Last week was the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And I don't know if many of you got to see some of that really old footage of the landing on the beaches and the thousands of people and thousands of planes. And it was an amazing, amazing effort. A couple of takeaways. That was 80 years ago, which really isn't that long ago. It's, believe it or not, in my lifetime. But you see all these people landing on the beach, and the ages are the ages of my grandsons, 16 to their 20s. So it's just hard, really hard to think about that. Anyway, just food for thought. Kevin, how are we doing on time?
Got 8 minutes. You want to take a recess and come back at 10?
Yeah, we're not going to do closed session. No. Well, okay, we're going to take a quick recess. Then at 10 o'clock, we will get into Kevin.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties.
Smile for me.
Yes, I heard this coming from the bomb. That's literally what we're talking about.
Okay, it is 10 o'clock and we are going to item 308. County Administrator received proposed budget for fiscal year 2024-25. Sean.
Hi, good morning, Board of Supervisors. Sean Powers, your Assistant County Administrator. Very pleased today to present the proposed budget for 24-25. Before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge all of the effort put in by the fiscal staff and the departments to submit their budgets to the County Administrator's Office for review, and the months of tireless labor that goes in for our staff, namely Michelle Logan and Jenna Shin, that look at just endless spreadsheets to put all this together, along with Emily Becken in our office and our PIO staff, Rachel and Cassie, who actually put together a new budget book for us that has a new crisper format. So a lot of work goes into this. Is about a culmination of about a 4-month process for our department. So very glad to be able to present this today. So just quick introduction, right from our strategic plan. This is what we keep in mind as we go through the budget process. So I won't read that again, but some of the highlights from this proposed budget does have an investment in our workforce. We are continuing to invest in technology and enhance our security. We're also planning and implementing some critical infrastructures. We've been knocking out some great projects in the last couple of years, and we continue to do that. And being fiscally responsible with our general fund reserves and contingencies that still meet and exceed our adopted policies, which is always a good thing. Just a quick review of the life cycle of the budget. A lot of people joke with me, hey, once you present in June, after tomorrow, it's, we're all done. No, this is a year-long process. Your board might recall that in January, we actually did our first workshop where we helped review the strategic plan and also set our priorities. That kind of serves as a guiding light as we start putting the budget together. In March, our hardworking departments submit their budgets to us to start the review process. In April, a lot of discussion between the CAO's office and the departments as we kind of finalize and put things together. In May, we do meet with the Finance Committee with your treasurer and your auditor, and also meet with the chair and the vice chair on the ad hoc committee to kind of go over the totality of the finished project. Here we are in June presenting before your board for consideration. And then we set our dates for August to have the more 2-day in-depth review where you have a chance to review the department's material in further depth and to talk to the department heads and their fiscal staff about any granular detail in those budgets. And then back in September to finally finish with the final budget where we make all of our fine tuning and final changes. We got a small breather in November, and then December, we're right back at it planning for January workshop again. So this is very much a year-round process for our office. So a little bit some budget highlights coming into our proposed. As I mentioned earlier, we have a new proposed budget book. We have a much standardized narrative between the departments. We are striving to make it look like a continuous document. We've definitely made it a little shorter document. It was very voluminous before, so we're very pleased with the new format, and we continue to keep making revisions to that. Still want to highlight Measure K. Very thankful that we have that in place right now. We continue to make that investment in public safety and in essential services at around $11 million. We still are providing and putting in capital project assets from various funding sources, about $20 million, again, going back to those capital improvements, and also about a $4.5 million update for our network and ISF. That's for our servers, enhanced security, performance, and efficiencies, where we can leverage technology to provide better service to the public. Another budget highlight, and I'm sure you will hear from our departments at Budget Workshop, the cost of insurance. That one was a big item this time around. My own personal insurance, the county's liability insurance, property insurance, we've seen significant cost increases there. That's a cost of doing business that has been incorporated into this proposed budget. One I'm very proud to talk about, and our auditor's office would probably repeat that, is our cash position for the county. We've made some changes on some timing of things when we do things in the budget process. You may recall from past budget years where we fund some things in January versus at the beginning of the year right after we do the budget, and maintain our reserves and maintain a fund balance, or what we call some unappropriated balance. And for the first time ever, the county was actually in a positive cash position for 11 months out of the fiscal year. And prior to my arrival in the CA's office, and probably Kevin's, that was not a common occurrence. And it simply says we didn't get that negative interest apportionment that comes from being not in a positive position. That just means we kind of borrow from the pool a little bit and we have to pay that back with interest. Well, for once, most of the time, we're actually earning more interest this time. So that's a very big change for the county. Another one I'm very happy to talk about is we are not going to be taking out a loan from the Yuba Water Agency to fund our pension obligation payment for the year. Why are we able to do that? In the last 3 budget cycles, I've requested to your board that we make an investment into that account that keeps building that budget up. Now we're actually to a point where we're able to borrow internally from our own sources as opposed to borrowing from the water agency to make that July payment. We will revisit that again at proposed budget. Probably we'll be looking at the potential to make another small investment in it. So at the worst case scenario right now, we're looking at maybe about a $3 million internal loan. If we have the resources at final budget, we might want to make that a little bit smaller, but we're slowly ticking away at that to where we can actually completely finance that on our own without any internal borrowing or external borrowing. That's the goal of the county administrator's office. But we don't have to take that item to the water agency this year, which was great for us and great for the water agency. So one thing, the proposed budget, or a couple items, should I say, they're not included in the final budget this year. When we gave instructions to the departments, we didn't have our cost plan or the 87 that we'll hear from departments from time to time at department workshop about basically their cost plan. Those are their overhead costs. So we had to use the prior year's rates as a placeholder. We have since finalized those numbers, so we will be making those adjustments in final budget as proposed budget. The auditor's office does a great job trying to get those out in a timely manner. It just didn't coincide with proposed budget this year. We are hoping to improve on that. We will see some salary and benefit adjustments that will come into play, possibly coming up at your next board meeting, that then we'll have to make adjustments for in that final, and those have to do with some of the tentative agreements we've reached with the bargaining units. And the big question mark at the bottom, state budget impacts to the county. I put a big giant question mark on that one. I think the state has a really tough task ahead of them with a number of items they're going to tackle, what they're actually going to do to reduce costs versus punt to next year, the number of trailer bills that will come out of the legislature with the budget process. Our office and HHS will really be tracking those really closely to see what's going to happen. Right now, you just have your May revise out with the governor's plan. That's the plan. The legislature's still got to chew on that. So that is a big question mark on what's to be determined on how it rolls out to the county. So our proposed budget in total of $338,194,301. A lot of that is due to the cost increases over prior fiscal year, cost of business, things like that. So that is where our budget in all operating funds is currently sized at right now. A little bit of how that breaks down, just give the pie chart of kind of where that's at. You can see definitely federal, state, and miscellaneous fees are the majority where we get our revenue from, both general fund and non-general fund, with about 60 million coming in for your discretionary general fund and kind of these other sources. You have the Measure K there off to the side. And that just kind of gives you a general breakdown of how all that comes together. So breaking it down about by function, where does that actually go? This gives you a sense of the percentages. Basically about 30% going into public protection, all your safety shops, and about another 30% going to social services by far. Those are the biggest chunks of our budget, followed out by land use and a couple of other smaller services, but just gives you a sense of how that breaks down by what function. Good news for our general fund revenue, keeps going up. Bad news is our costs keep going up. So we have seen a steady increase in that. We are on track to hit our numbers for 24-25, even though that shows a dip right there. That just shows of our actuals to date because it's not all in the bank yet. And then we're projecting that to be just short under 50 for next year. It is nice to still keep those increases. We're seeing that on the property tax and the sales tax side, and hopefully those continue to keep going that direction. But it shows you where we came from back 18, 19, 19, 20, and some steady growth we've seen in those areas. Breaking down that roughly 50 million by general fund kind of shows you where it actually comes from. Property tax by far is our biggest winner on that, with the majority coming from property tax, followed right behind sales tax. Those are definitely our biggest drivers as far as our discretionary revenue and deciding whether your board will allocate those funds. And then some other smaller miscellaneous one is in fees, franchise fees, sales tax, or tipping fees, and some other items. But definitely we are watching property tax very closely because it is the largest contributor to our general fund revenue. So just further kind of breaking that down a little bit where it's actually going, public protection, definitely getting the largest share of that, followed by general government, land use, a little bit to social services through our maintenance of effort and health services, and enterprise airport that's runs on its own. It's an enterprise fund, so it breaks down that $59 million. Talk about Measure K. Again, very fortunate we are still receiving that Measure K revenue. Definitely had a delay when it first rolled out, and then we put it to use, and I'll let the Measure K committee speak for it. They seem very pleased with where we're putting it, and we got really good at putting it to use. So it kind of shows you, we got $11 million budgeted into the budget this year for Measure K. This kind of breaks it down into different departments to see where it's going. Obviously, if you look at the blue section right there, a good chunk going to the safety folks, and then with some of the essential services falling out behind it. But that is definitely our largest Measure K so far, and we'll continue to look at that. Talk about reserves and contingencies. These are very good things. These talk about the fiscal health of the county. You look back to where we were at 15, 16, 16, 17. While granted our budget was a lot smaller, we only had kind of one pot for kind of the rainy day fund, and now we have three distinct ones that actually add up to decent numbers. These are part of your policies and reserves to say which ones are in general fund contingencies, general fund reserve, and economic uncertainty. Generally, we look at contingencies first as we go through the fiscal year. We have some surprises, some unknown costs. Usually contingencies kick in first, and we pretty much have never talked about dipping into reserves or economic uncertainty, which is a good thing, but you never know coming up with things changing the economy right now. We're looking at things very closely. Anything definitely that might happen on our property tax or definitely our sales tax could have effects on the county. If we had to make some tough decisions on what to do as revenues decline, these would be some of the places we'd look for first if we had to go there. But generally, we tend to stay away from those, which is a good thing. So kind of just wrapping things up and talking about the summary of the proposed budget in total. So we do have that $44 million investment in public protection, which is about 75% of your general fund allocation. That's our actually highest number we've ever actually hit. We also have, in addition to that, another $8 million in Measure K going to the 3 safety shops, the DA, the sheriff, and the probation. So definitely supporting safety through this budget process. Again, your reserves and contingencies are recommended to be budgeted at policy levels. Everything right now is using estimates from fund balance, basically what we have left over at the end of the year. We do have that number plugged into that. We get a much stronger sense of what that number is when we get to final budget, and we can make some more decisions on how that comes in higher or lower, but we're pretty confident of where that's going to come in right now. And any adjustments made at final budget will be made on when we have a sense of when the fiscal year closes out. So before your board today is to accept and adopt the proposed budget for 24-25 as the interim spending plan. This does include some position allocations, as you'll see from your attachments in the budget package. We want to make the public available through the website and in the board's office for the budget book that'll be available for public review. Set our dates for budget workshop on the August 13th and 14th, and set final budget hearing to commence on September 10th for final budget adoption. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions from your board.
That's a great presentation and a great document, easy to read. That covers almost everything. Hopefully this time next year, we'll see a little revision in the sales tax number, but we don't know yet.
We don't know yet. Sales tax, definitely been looking at it very closely. Obviously, there's a couple of economic indicators out there. We just haven't got our first report in. I've been almost asking for it weekly now to get the final on that. So we did see in the first quarters that came in, definitely we got a Costco return. It wasn't a full quarter. Costco is up, obviously, because they went from 0. Walmart took a little haircut. So some things just moved across the street. Yeah. Those are definitely fuel sales. So we're going to continue to watch that. So we'll see if that does anything exciting or not. We have a fairly conservative number for sales tax in there right now. If it's going to go one direction or another, we'll address that and find out.
Well, that's what I appreciate about your department. You're all pretty conservative. Yeah. Any more board comments?
So through the chair. That loan from the water agency, that was a large amount.
Supervisor Ask, because you are correct. I think at one point, the highest loan amount we took out for the UAL loan was, I think, a little over 14 million. And wow. I think we started doing that in about 15, 16. That's been a pretty repetitive event. So for us to be able to get to the point where we can do that on our own, That's actually a very good thing
That's
for
actually,
the county. And we're avoiding the interest expense that then doesn't have to roll into those costs as well.
that's a big deal. And thank you again for your report. It's looking up in Yuba County, of course, and if you look at the growth that we've had for the past 5, 6 years, that's been amazing. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gary? Through the chair, no questions, but I did really appreciate the new format of the budget book. So it was great. So thank you.
Very good read, much crisper in the narratives. We highly encourage everyone to go through it. I believe it is a greater improvement over prior version. Thank you for that.
I had a comment
John?
through the chair, so I want to thank you too. What a great presentation. I did want to point out one thing just for the general public because it's came up in the past. The money that the county borrowed from the water agency did not cost the water agency any money. It was all fully repaid within the year with interest due. So it didn't make any difference to the water agency. It was always repaid. And what a great job you guys have done going from having to borrow 14 million plus to zero now in a short amount of time is really showing what you guys have gotten done. It's great.
Yeah, typically in the last 2 years, we've usually paid that loan back around December, January at the latest. So even though we borrow it for a full year, we were actually paying it back early as we found the balance between how much we were borrowing. And every year in the last couple of years, we borrowed less and repaid it earlier than we said, thus minimizing interest expense to the county.
So through the chair, just following up on Supervisor Messick's comment related to that and yours, just for clarification for the public, because I do know there is confusion sometimes over this loan. So based on what you just said, there is not currently any outstanding balance that we owe the water agency on that at this time for the previous year, and all previous years were paid during those previous years. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Through the chair, I had a question about the pie chart terminology. On one of your pie charts, you have general fund discretionary at 59 million, and then two pages later, the general fund revenue is 49.5, and then the pie chart that follows it also has it at 49, I think, 0.5. So my question is what makes the one pie chart for general fund discretionary total revenues 10 million higher, but when it's referenced later, the revenue is $10 million less?
That's about 9.6 in fund balance. That's not included between the two of those. That's that amount that's.
And so it's called revenue just because it's moving from the previous year to the new year?
I don't want to call it revenue. It'd be more like funding available, but that's, funds that we're assuming that are going to be left over at the end of the fiscal year that when your board through the process can appropriate for next year.
Okay. Because the name of the chart is total revenues. Yeah. So that's why.
Yeah. Leftover funds revenue. It's not a very clean cut on what you would call it that.
All right.
I'm really looking forward to the August workshops. 2 full days, pretty much.
2 full days and plenty of opportunities for you to discuss budgets and operations and programs with your hardworking departments. Absolutely.
Yes.
How much approximately is the unfunded liability at this point?
I wouldn't have those probably off the top of my head. I think on the last time around, I think we were getting up in as far as total funding, I think we were sneaking up on 70% as far as our pension obligation between the 2 buckets. I could get that number for you later, but I think that's ballpark where it was at.
Okay.
We usually were much more focused on the annual bill every year and why we like to see that number tick up.
Sure.
It's based on CalPERS returns and a lot of other various factors. So as long as we keep making progress on that, this is more of a short-term cash flow loan because the UAL, the easiest way I've been able to explain it, it's imagine paying your mortgage 12 months in one shot in July as opposed to that, and your mortgage company gives you like a 4% discount. That's where we're at with the UAL, and it's more of a cash flow problem than how much we owe generally in totality.
People seem to be very concerned with that number, so that's why they want us to chip it down. On the chart where it talks about the general fund revenue sources, you guys combo property tax and VLF swap. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what VLF swap is, but we're getting that from DMV?
That actually comes through the state, and it's very predicated on assessed value. That's part of when the state did some monkeying around with our local revenue, and it's very driven for us by property tax. So when we see an increase in property tax, that translates into VLF. That comes from the state. We get 2 payments a year on that.
Okay, and what does the VLF stand for then?
It's not vehicle license fee.
Okay, so it is. Okay, that's what I thought it was. Vehicle license fee.
That was part of the in lieu. So it's coming back to us in exchange of prior fees. So it's a long, complicated, hard to understand. It goes back to triple flip and some things like that.
Yeah, so I was just curious why we wouldn't break those out as two different categories, since VLF is direct from the state for that stream. Property taxes are obviously something we're collecting here in-house. Because I think in one of your other charts, when I looked deeper, you had like 13 million for one and 6 million for the other. And so the numbers didn't quite match up with the 34 million. That's why I was curious if we could break those out, since those are two obviously very different streams.
We could break that out in the future. We can make that change.
Any other board questions, comments? Yes, go ahead.
Members of the board, Richard W. Auditor Control. I'm here to just help out Sean and answering questions for Supervisor Stewart. The VLF swap it's more of a VLF shift. It used to be, there's a lot of involvement that the state had in it. And just for clarity, the ERAF shift was where the state shifted money from the special district and county and cities to the schools. And it saves, for the purpose of that was to save the state budget some money. And then they implemented a VLF shift, which shifted money from vehicle license fee funds back from that ERAF portion to the county and the cities. So it allows them to recoup some money that they gave up when they helped fund the schools. So that's what that's for. And it's not presented separately necessarily because they're both integrated. They're related to each other. And that's why they're not presented separately.
Well, I guess my question is this. If I have a cheap house and an expensive car, I'm paying more VLF. And if I have an expensive house and a cheap car, I'm paying less VLF. But if it's related to my house value as opposed to my car value, that's where I'm confused, because VLF is based off of car value.
They're not really related in that way. It's the fees that you pay is what you pay, and then based on the mathematical formula determined by the state, and it includes a growth factor. It's not determined by actual license fees paid across the state or in the county.
So if we have one car or 50 cars, that's irrelevant. What matters is our property values is where the state's going to come up with their formula to allocate to us.
It's a little bit more complex than that. I think it's something that you and I can talk about after the meeting or offline. But I think it's a little more complex than this forum has an opportunity to explain. I don't know if that helps.
Everybody good?
Through the chair, I was just going to mention to Supervisor Fuhrer that CSAC has a 1 or 2 day class, like specifically on this topic. I've taken it. I could probably take it 10 more times and still not understand it. But I would encourage you to maybe sign up for that next time they offer it. At least you'll get a glimpse into, for lack of a better term, maybe the triple flip and some of the, quote games that are played with respect to how that funding is allocated and where it comes from and how it's shifted and all that. It's quite complicated.
Be careful what you wish for.
Well.
So are we good on the board?
Yep.
Any public comment? So do we have a motion to accept this proposed budget? We have a motion and a second.
If I could, through the chair, if we could have a roll call vote on this, we'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Did we get a second?
Yeah, I'll second based on, the recommendations that were on the previous slide. I assume that was the motion, right?
Yes. Roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer,
No.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. I think we are up to closed session. So we will, I guess, have another little short social break because we're going to be going into closed session, and then we were going to be in recess until 1:30 for a cost accounting hearing.
Good thing
You're testing me.
Recording stopped.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties.